me maximum how many participants will attend today's session. That would be really a great needful. Accordingly, we can decide whether to start immediately or to wait for some time until everyone joins. So quickly let me know in the chat section. And just like I said in the beginning itself, the beginning of the training program. So responses are very, very important in the corporate world, because right now you might be students, but once when you get into the organization, your responses are going to matter a lot, because you will be having a conversation with your fellow team members, your colleagues, your clients, your customers, and maybe the upper level management people in the hierarchy also, right? The moment when you build the habit of responding to the people, definitely you are ready for the industry. And there is a primary thing. I'm telling you in every single session, please do have the habit of responding to the people. Just ask you, if you know something about the total number of the students that might attend today's session, you can let me know. Otherwise, if you don't know, it's okay. You can quickly let me know by typing I don't know, IDK, in the chat. Great. So I hope that everyone is able to hear me properly, because you told me in the chat that it is clearly audible. And I'll take that acknowledgement. And now slowly we shall get started into today's session. And I firmly believe that 28 is not the number of participants in today's session. And until everyone joins, let me just ask you a simple question. And everyone has your own Instagram account or Facebook account, right? And Facebook, many people believe that it is outdated, and that's why no person is using Facebook these days. But Instagram is what we use, right? For Instagram Reels and IGTV. Even if you're not doing one of those, we still follow a lot of people on Instagram and they do all these stuff, right? And recently, I was going through one of the videos on Instagram, and that's where the content was something like a random guy was with a mic, and he was going to the general public and asking them some random question, and he was capturing their responses. That's it. That was the simple game he was playing with the public. And in this kind of a game, you will definitely get certain sort of questions for which you have never thought that could be the right answer. And I have three questions for today's initial conversation to share with you. And let me check how well you can think about this problem and how quickly you're able to solve the problem. And I'm again telling you, nowhere related to aptitude in any case, but these kind of things will be testing your lateral thinking ability perfectly. So to begin with, let me just ask you a question. But before I start, you quickly let me know in the chat section, are you ready with a pen and a workbook? If you're ready with the pen and a workbook, quickly type, I am ready, IR in the chat. This is also a primary acknowledgement for me, and I need it from every single one out there. Type, are you ready with the pen and a workbook? If you're ready with the pen and a workbook, you have to immediately type, I'm ready, IR in the chat. So I'm looking forward to your response in the chat section here. Please make sure that you do the needful. Hello, are you there? Yes, Harshita, you're talking something, I guess. I could not hear you properly. Can you please say that again? Okay. So rest of the participants, please do let me know in the chat section. Am I not able to see your chat in the chat over here, or you're not responding at all? Okay, let me just type something in the chat and you just respond to this question. Okay, so I have texted something in the chat section. Please do respond to this question at least. Am I audible first of all? Yes means type yes. No means you can type a no in the chat. Okay, Karthik says yes. So in that case, everyone was able to hear me properly, right? So I asked you to acknowledge for whether or not you're ready with the pen and a workbook, but nobody said anything about it. That's why I had a confusion whether I'm audible enough to all of you or not. Great. So I believe that everyone is able to hear me and everyone is perfectly fine and ready for today's session. And to begin with, let me just ask you a very, very simple question. And the question is something like this. Okay. Your parents have 4 kids. Okay. Your parents have 4 kids. And the first one is north. Second one is south. Third one is east. Tell me who is the fourth one? Very simple question. Your parents have 4 kids. First one is north. Second one is south. Third one is east. Who is the fourth one? If you know the answer, quickly post it in the chat. Harshita, that was a genius response from you. West is the answer. Okay. Anyone else? Very simple question. Your parents have 4 kids. Okay. One is north, one more is south, one more is east. Who is the fourth one? Harshita is the only one who has come up with the answer. But Harshita, I would like you to have a greater look at your answer, because you did not pay attention to my question. I asked you, your parents have 4 kids. First one is north, second one is south, third one is east. Who is the fourth one? And you ended up saying west. Okay. And one more person said yes, west as the answer, but the person has deleted the response. Guru Prasad says, very good. That's really a great observation, Guru Prasad. Thank you so much. And everyone needs to understand this question effectively, because I told you that your parents have 4 kids, right? And if your parents have 4 kids, that fourth one it itself is you, right? Okay, it is you only. There is no concept of West. And if your name is West, then answer of West is fine. If your name is something else, then you cannot say answer as West. Now tell me, if you have realized what mistake you made initially while thinking about this problem, quickly tell me a bingo in the chat. Okay. In the interview process, probably you are most likely to get this question in the personal interview. And I look forward to your response in the chat section in terms of a bingo. And let me quickly check how many people have realized the mistake that you made earlier. Your parents have 4 kids, 3 kids are already there, and fourth one is you yourself. And that's why West will not be the answer. Okay, so I hope everyone is able to understand this one clearly. Great, that's really great. Now, I'll go with one more question, a similar kind of a question where your lateral thinking is very much necessary. And let me check who comes up with the quickest answer right now. Tell me, are you ready first of all? Type number 1 if you're ready to listen to me, because I don't get the satisfactory responses in the chat section. I don't know what is the reason today. I don't really know whether it is a network interruption or something like that, or you're not responding in the chat. Maybe you're not responding at all. But every single time, whenever I ask you to type something in the chat, please make sure that you're typing and making the needful. Done. So quickly let me know in the chat by typing number 1. Are you ready for the next question? It's also somewhere similar, a logic based question only. And the question is over here. Whenever you were 6 years old, whenever you were 6 years of age, your brother was half as old as you. Half as old as you. Okay, whenever you were 6 years, your brother was half as old as you. And now you are 60 years of age. Tell me, how old is your brother? Quickly tell me in the chat. Whenever you were 6 years old, your brother was half as old as you were. Right now you're 60 years of age. Tell me, how old is your brother? Now that is really beautiful. That's really beautiful. Some people have come up with the answer. Varnashri Gowda is the first one to come up with the answer. Thumbs up. And Harshita is the second one to come up with the answer. Again, one more thumbs up for you. Kavya also comes up with the answer. And all the people who have responded so far are girls. That's the highlighting point. And now comes with the answer, Guru Prasad. Very good. And I thought that you would come up with the answer like this. Now tell me, how many of you are still thinking, sir, how 57 is the answer? Answer supposed to be 30, right? Because whenever I was 6, my brother was 3. So the ratio is 2:1. So when I turn 60, my brother should be 30, right? Anyone mind is working like this? If your mind is working like this, if you need to observe one thing, that age difference between your brother and you is only 3 years. Now, do you think this age difference will change after 10 years? It will still remain the same only, right? After 20 years, same. 30 years, same. Age difference between two people will never change. That's why whenever you're 60, the age difference between you and your brother should be 3 years. In that case, it has to be 57. There is no other possibility. So I hope it is clear to everybody. And quickly tell me a clear in the chat if you have understood this problem. Only 4 people have responded. Varnashri, and then Harshita, then Kavya, and then finally Guru Prasad. Thank you so much, all of you, for acknowledging. Now, quickly type a clear in the chat if you have understood this. And we are moving to the last question. And here is where your lateral thinking ability is going to be tested. Very, very beautiful question it is. And I made a mistake while answering this question for the first time. Okay, let me check how many people make the same mistake that I made, or how many people would come up with the answer. The question is, tell me, how many seconds are there in a year? How many seconds are there in a year? Quickly, tell me in the chat. How many seconds are there in a year? Now, many people will go with the calculator thinking that this is a complex calculation. In 1 minute, it is 60 seconds. And in 60 minutes, 60 into 60. And in 24 hours, 60 into 60 into 24. And in a year, 365 days are there. So 60 into 60 into 24 into 365. This is what majority of the people answer. And now tell me, Naveen, did you do the same calculation? 60 into 60 into 24 into 365? Yes means yes, no means no. I would like to see it from you. Did you make this calculation or not? Okay, great. Now, Harshita, you typed a 0 there, and I don't know what exactly is the representation of 0. 0 means, are you trying to say that you don't know the answer to this question? Okay, thank you so much, Naveen, for acknowledging that you have done it in the similar way. But I told you in the beginning itself, it is not the direct question. If it was a direct question, I would have appreciated your responses there, because this is really a quick calculation you made. But definitely, I know that you have used a calculator. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to get the answer in such quick succession. Uh, but try to avoid the calculator as much as possible. Done. Right now, it's a lateral thinking question, and think differently to come up with the answer. It's a very, very basic question. How many seconds are there in a year? And now Rishita says that it is 60. And Rishita, if you can tell me how exactly it is 60, I'll be happy to see that response as well. Because anyway, 60 is not the right answer I'm expecting. And don't scold me after I explain this logic, okay? Because logic is so dumb. Logic is so dumb. And it is just a logic behind the word or the sentence itself. How many seconds are there in a year? I know everyone is going to be blasting at me after you get to know the logic from me. Right. So let me go with the solution part only. Don't scold me. I'm telling you in the beginning itself, there are only 12 seconds in a year. Okay. There are only 12 seconds. And I'm not talking about this second. Okay. I'm not talking about this second. I'm talking about this second. So how many seconds are there? Yes. January 2nd is there. February 2nd is there. March 2nd is there. So on and so forth till December 2nd. So how many seconds are there in a year? Definitely there are 12 seconds in a year. That's all. That's all. And answer to this question I expected was 12. Now quickly tell me how many of you think that this logic was really funny. Quickly type a me along with the laughing emoji. Let me check how many people would type the acknowledgement in the chat. Quickly type a me in the chat section along with the laughing emoji. So that's it, done. It is not 3153600 or 60 into 60 into 24 into 365. It is very simple logic. How many seconds are there in a year? 12 seconds. January 2nd, February 2nd, and so on and so forth till December 2nd. And some of you might counter attack me by saying, sir, the answer should be 24 because there are also something called as January 22nd, February 22nd, March 22nd, so on and so forth till December 22nd. But did I ask you 22nd or only second? I asked you only second, right? That's why these lists should not be taken. And answer is only 12. So I believe it's clear to everybody. And now we shall slowly get started with today's session. And in today's session, I have got one particular topic to discuss with you. But before that, definitely I'll have to have a conversation about the things that we discussed in the previous session. And without this, it becomes very difficult to go with today's conversation. And I'm very much sure that you have maintained a separate notebook for this particular chapter. And can anyone quickly let me know? Normally, I don't make this mistake in any of my session, asking the students what was discussed in the previous session, because I know that I won't get any responses. But still, I would do that stupid thing, because without that, establishing a fair connection between today's topic and the previous topic is very difficult. That's why it would be really great if you can type what was the topic discussed in the previous session. Quickly, tell me in the chat. At least the topic's name. I'm not actually expecting anything else from the topic's name at least. Okay, Harshita says that it was tenses, and along with the tenses, probably did I speak something related to the direct speech and indirect speech? Yes means yes, no means no. Because I remember, like, I don't do this tenses part alone in a session. Definitely, I must have done direct speech as well as indirect speech. How to convert a particular sentence which is there in the direct speech into indirect speech. But again, the identification of a tense is very important for uh, any sort of job aspirant if he or she wants to crack the questions from verbal aptitude section, especially grammar and language skill. This identification of the tense is very much necessary. Now you tell me which particular tense is this sentence is in. Tell me, I have not done it. I have not done it. Tell me which particular tense is this sentence in. I have not done it. Which tense it is in? Quickly let me know in the chat section. There are 12 tenses basically. If you don't remember, let me write it over here. You have something called past tense, you have something called present tense, and you have also have a future tense, right? Now these are the three basic tenses, and along with that, sub tenses you can add is simple and continuous tense. Third one is perfect tense, and the fourth one is perfect continuous tense. That's it. And whenever these four sections are going well with the past, present, and future, it will create 12 different tenses, past, perfect, continuous, right? So 12 different tenses are possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Done. Now, I have not done it comes under which particular tense out of this? Very good. Kavya is the only one to answer this particular question out of the total number of participants, 79. Only one person has responded for this question, so which is really pathetic. But Kavya, thank you so much for acknowledging in the chat section. You're the only one who have come up with the answer. Great. Now, I want everyone to pay a very close detail to this one. I told you, whenever have comes, right, you should definitely understand that it is in the perfect tense for sure, because have will never come in any of the other format. Okay, have will also come in perfect continuous, but you should understand, if it is continuous means ing format should be there. But do you feel any ing format is here? No, then it is not perfect tense. So it is perfect continuous tense, but it should definitely be perfect tense. But you should tell me, is it the past perfect, present perfect, or future perfect? Future perfect will never be possible, because if it is future, then will word should be there. But do you feel will word is there? No. And if it is past perfect, then had, the word had should be there, but you don't see that as well. That's why the sentence is in present perfect tense. So I hope it's clear to everybody. Now I would like to give you one more question, and you should be quickly able to come up with the answer. The question is, tell me, she went to school. Which particular tense it is? Now, Kavya, you're the favorite to come up with the answer for this, because you are the only one to answer the previous question. But rest of the participants are also equally encouraged to come up with the answer. So let me check who comes up with the quickest answer to this question now. I'm looking forward to everyone's response. Which particular tense is this? Because this identification of the tense is going to be helpful in majority of the verbal aptitude section. And if you're not able to do that, then it is very difficult for you to solve any sort of problem from verbal aptitude section. Now, there are two reasons why you're not responding in the chat. One reason is you know the answer, but you don't want to respond. And second reason possible is uh, you don't know the answer. That's why you are not responding. Now, which one should I assume? If I don't get any responses in the chat, which one should I assume? So don't keep your host in the confused state, because it is not good for you. It is not good for the host also. That's why please do respond. ತಪ್ಪ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? Right. So simple past tense, and simple past tense. Very good, Kavya. Varnashri also says the same answer. Then Yashaswini also says the same answer. Beautiful. Thank you so much. You can see here, went is there in the past format of the word, right? Because go becomes went in the past tense. So directly you can go with simple past tense. So this kind of identification should be perfectly known. So I hope it is clear to every single one out there. And now let me quickly ask you some questions based on subject verb agreement also, because this is also very, very important one. And you should quickly come up with the answer to this question. Tell me, Krishna is/are a police officer? Tell me quickly. What should be the right answer? Krishna is/are a. Okay, it's a very simple question, right? So Krishna is only one person. One person means it is singular. And according to subject verb agreement, singular subject should go with singular form of the verb itself. And which is singular here? I told you every single time I told you to remember one particular part. In the case of noun, what happens? In the case of verb, what happens? In the case of a noun, you can identify singular or plural depending upon the yes sound. Same way, in the case of verb also, you can find out singular or plural as per the accordance of the yes sound over there. So the very simple logic I would like to give you here, I have already explained this, I remember, but still I'll tell you. In case of a noun, if yes sound or es sound or ies sound comes in the word, then definitely it is in the plural form. And this is going to happen in the case of a noun. And in case of a verb, if yes sound, es and ies comes, then definitely it is in the singular format of the verb. Please remember this. Yes, es and ies, it will be the plural form in case of noun. Yes, es and ies will be singular form in case of verb. Now you tell me, sings. Sings, is it in the singular form or plural form? Singular means type yes in the chat. Plural means type P in the chat. Quickly tell me in the chat. Singular means yes, plural means P. So very good. So Varnashri was the first one to answer the previous question, followed by Jayant, then Kavya. Chandrasekhar also answered the same question. Darshan, and yes, Kavya was also answered. Now different people have answered different questions. So let's say Kavya says it is in the singular form, but Kavya Shri says it is in the plural form. Varnashri says that it is in the plural form. I told you. First of all, you tell me, sing. The word sing is a noun or a verb? You tell me that first. First ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ, sing ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು noun ಅಥವಾ verb? I would like to see your response there in the chat section. Singing is a process, right? It is. Please understand this one. Noun means name of a particular object. You understand that in the basic part. Noun means it is the name of an object. Something that is visible to your bare eyes are said to be noun. For example, pen. It's visible to my eyes, right? So that means it is a noun. Same way, writing pad. You have a writing pad, and this is also visible to my eyes, and this is called a noun. Water bottle. This is also something visible to my eyes. It is a noun. So now you tell me, sing. Now I'm not talking about that sing, Sardarji. I'm talking about sing. It's an action, right? And the moment when it is observed as an action, definitely it's a verb. And identification of a noun and verb should not become very difficult for you. See, sing is a noun. Sorry, sing is a verb. Sing is not a noun. Sing is a verb because it is an action related word, right? And in case of a verb, I told you, if yes sound, es sound, or ies sound comes, definitely it is a singular entity. So people who said plural, please make sure you're making the changes. Sings is not the plural, it is the singular format. You should never ever forget this particular logic. Now, quickly, I want everybody to type a clear in the chat if you have understood this logic. And not only typing clear in the chat, but if I give you any word hereafter, you should be able to tell me whether it is in the plural form or it is in the singular form. And now, Darshan, you said noun when I asked you the format of sing, but it's not a noun. If it is a noun, definitely it should be a object that you're able to see. It should not be any sort of action, right? Great. Now you tell me, Krishna. In this problem, Krishna is a single person. Single person means it is singular. Singular subject should go with singular form of the verb. Now tell me, in is and are, in which case yes sound is coming? Yes sound is coming in is, and that's why it will become a singular entity. Your answer is supposed to be is. Now, if I change the question a little bit, something like this, Krishna and Arjun. Tell me, what should be your answer? Krishna and Arjun is police officer or are police officer? What should be your answer? Krishna and Arjun. In this case, Krishna is separate, Arjun is separate, two people are there. Two people means it is a plural entity. Plural subject should go with plural form of the verb. Which is the plural form of the out of is and are? Definitely are is the plural form. That's where a will not be coming there. A will be used only to indicate one item, right? But Krishna and Arjun are two different people. That's why you should not be using a there. So Krishna and Arjun are police officers. Police officers is the right answer choice. So I hope it's clear to everybody. Now quickly tell me, lamps. Okay, that will not be right. Let's say fans. Fans. Tell me first of all, fans is in the singular form or in the plural form? Quickly, let me know in the chat. Fans, singular or plural? What do you think? Fans. You can also consider the ceiling fans or the table fans or the fans in general. Okay, many people have said that it is plural. Understand one thing, fan. Is it something visible to your eyes? Answer is yes. If it is visible to your eyes, it will become a noun. And in fans, you find yes sound is there. And in case of a noun, if yes sound is coming, will it be a singular entity or a plural entity? Definitely it is a plural entity. So basically what you need to remember is, I told you in the beginning also enough number of times, noun and verb identified perfectly. And out of this, again, you have something called singular as well as plural. Here also you have singular as well as plural. And basic understanding is, in case of a noun, if yes sound, es sound, and ies sound comes, then it is definitely in the plural form. And in case of a verb, if yes, es, and ies comes, it is the singular form of the verb. Please understand this somehow. And quickly type a noted in the chat section if you have made a note of these points. Very important points, especially grammar is impossible without this understanding. Your grammar will be pathetic if you don't understand the concept of singular as well as plural. Majority of the time when you speak, you will be making mistake. And whenever you write also, there will be a plenty of mistakes if you don't understand these two critical aspects. Thank you so much, Yashaswini, for acknowledging that you have noted this. And I firmly believe that rest of the participants have also noted this particular point clearly. Very, very important thing. Now, we'll move on to the next conversation quickly. And the next conversation is going to happen based on the pronouns. And you have to tell me whether they are singular or plural. First thing I would like to ask you is he. Tell me, is this he is a pronoun first of all, and it is called subjective pronoun also. Okay, it is a subject first of all, and at the same time it's a pronoun in the sentence. So already one particular man has been mentioned in the previous part of the sentence. Now whenever you want to take the same person's reference one more time, you will be using a pronoun, right? So he is a pronoun. Tell me, this he is a singular entity or a plural entity? You should be able to tell me that quickly. Tell me in the chat.
Singular.
He means only one person is there, right? That means it is a singular entity. Very good. Now this is a singular entity. What about she? What about she? She means in the place of a man, there is a woman, and she is also addressing only one particular person. That's why she is also singular. What about it? It is also a singular aspect. That's why this is also a singular entity. All these subjects are singular in nature. These are singular subjects. And now you tell me, if these subjects are coming, then which format of the verbs I should be using? See, I should use sing or I should use sings. ನೀವು ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು he she ಮತ್ತೆ it ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು sing ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ verb ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ sings ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? I'm looking forward to your response. You can either unmute yourself and talk to me, or you can also post your responses in the chat. Very good. Very good. So understanding is very simple now. These are nouns, right? Pronoun. In the name itself, noun is there. These are nouns. Identify whether they are singular or plural. I told you already that they are singular. If they are singular, they should also go very well with the singular form of the verb. Now tell me, sing is singular or sings is singular? I told you in case of a verb, if yes sound comes, that is singular. Answer is sing should be the right one. So I hope it is clear to everybody. Now, let me come back to one more aspect of this one itself, where you see the plural subjects. Okay, where you see the plural subject. Can anyone quickly tell me the example for plural subjects? Example for plural subject. So it will be something like we. Okay, we is a plural entity because I'm considering all of us whoever are here right now. We is a plural subject. Similarly, what about this? They is also a plural entity, and it, I will use these for this. Okay, I will use these as a plural entity, and I can also use those, because if things are kept over here, I can say these, and if the things are kept over there, I should say those as a plural entity. So those is plural, we is plural, they is plural, these is also a plural word. Now these are all called plural subject, right? And plural subject should go with plural form of the verb. Now you tell me, should these be going well with go, or they should be going with goes? Which one is the right answer? Correct. Yashaswini has come up with the answer. They and we are the plural subject. Good one. And answer to this question is, since these are plural, I should go with the plural form of the verb. And go is plural or goes is plural. You should not be making any mistake here. Answer is go is plural. That's why go is the answer to this question. Very good. And now in the initial case, I gave you a question of sing, right? So sings is the answer to this. Now I have left some of the subjects here. Why did I leave them? Because they will be serving the purpose of both singular as well as plural also sometimes. For example, tell me for you. Tell me you. You is singular or plural? You tell me that first. If you think that it is only singular, type SING. If it is plural, you can type PLU. If you consider that this can be applied for both, you can type a both in the chat. Let me check how many people are able to identify this perfectly. You is singular or you is plural, or is it both? Very good. See, you can be used as both singular as well as plural subject. But understanding is very important here. Understanding is very important. Even though you is singular, as used as a singular, or it is used as a plural entity, the context will be a different one, whether it is a positive or whether it is a single person or multiple people. For example, let's say Chetan Kumar, your current host. This is Chetan. Okay, I'm talking to one of the participants in the meeting. Let us say Yashaswini. Okay, I'm talking to Yashaswini, and I'm telling Yashaswini that you go there. If I'm instructing Yashaswini to go there, I will say that you go there. Now the same person, Chetan Kumar, is addressing three people right now: Yashaswini, Kavya, and Sudarshan. And if I'm talking to three people, then also if I want these people to go there, then what will I say? I will say like you go there. Now, in the first case, I was talking about only one person, Yashaswini. And in the second case, I was talking about three people, but still I have ended up using you go there, right? And now, in both the cases, I have used go only, which is in the plural form of the verb. So that means no matter whether you're talking about a single person or more than one person, you should always use a plural form of the verb, especially whenever you is the subject. Please make a note of this. You can be used both as singular or plural. This is a special case. That's why I'm explaining it perfectly. Okay. You is a special case and it can be used as both singular as well as plural. But no matter whether you are using it as a singular or plural, it will always go with the plural form of the verb itself. That's why you should remember this one like this. You can be both singular or plural, but the verb that you need to use over here is the plural verb itself. Plural verb. Done. You should remember this. That's the reason why we don't have something like you goes there, you likes me, you loves me, or you eats something, you sits, you stands up. All this kind of thing will not be happening, right? Always you will use the plural form of the verb itself. And the same thing is applicable for I also. Now you tell me, I is singular or plural? You tell me this. I is singular or plural? I is singular or plural? Now, if you don't say that it is plural, I means it is only one person, right? It is singular. But still, why are we not using I is a singular subject? I know that it should go with the singular form of the verb itself. That's why I should use I loves you. Why are we using I love you? You should answer my question. Here is where the rule is itself breaking, right? Why is it happening? Anyone has an answer? According to the rule, singular subject should go with singular form of the verb itself, right? But why are we using I love you instead of I loves you? This is what your question is. Have you ever figured it out any time in the past? I'm looking forward to your response in the chat section. Okay, so the logic is very simple. This singular subject should go with singular form of the verb is applicable only to third person singular. For example, there are something called first person, second person, and third person, right? And in the first person, you will get I, and in the second person, you get you, and in the third person, you will get he, she, it. This is in the case of singular. Okay, this is in the case of singular. First person singular, I. Second person singular is you. Third person singular is he, she, or it. Now, singular subject should go with singular form of the verb is applicable only for third person singular. It is not applicable for second person singular. It is not applicable for first person singular also. And that's why I loves you is incorrect. It should be I love you. And it can also be used for I love all my students. I love all of you, something like this, right? So I believe this particular logic is clear to you. So whenever he, she, it comes, definitely you should use singular form of the verb itself. Whenever those, we, they, these come, you should use plural form of the verb. And you is a special case because it can be acting both as a singular subject or plural subject. But no matter what, you should be using plural form of the verb for it. And I also is somewhere the exceptional case itself because I basically is a singular subject and it should go with singular form of the verb according to the rule. But rule is applicable only for third person singular. Since I is first person singular, the rule will not be applicable there. That's why I will always go with plural form of the verb itself. Now, if you have understood this particular explanation perfectly, I want all of you to type a perfect in the chat section and we'll move on to the actual conversation of this today's topic. Quickly, let me know in the chat whether or not you have understood everything, whatever I have said in today's session. Thank you so much, Kavya, for acknowledging. And I've been telling you this right from the beginning itself. And the moment when you work really hard on your subject verb agreement, you will start speaking so effortlessly in English language. That is one thing. And your writing skill will also improve significantly. That is what one important point I would like to highlight here. And thank you so much, Kavya, Yashaswini, Dhruvan, and Varnashri for acknowledging. And you are literally a gem of people, because out of the 70 odd people, only you four are responding right from the beginning. Thank you so much for doing the needful. Great. So, and I would also encourage the rest of the participants to acknowledge. See, I thought that it is only 70 people, but it is so close to 100. 97 participants are there. I don't know ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಂತ ನೀವು maybe ನಿಮ್ಮ time ಅನ್ನು enjoy ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬಹುದು, but I'll tell you, I have a lot of my students who are still regretting that they did not take necessary action whenever they had a privilege of time. Right now, the time is in excess for you. That's why you don't feel the importance of the time, and you don't value the time. But once you reach the final year, right, all these things become very, very crucial for you. And that's where the need arises. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಆಗ supply ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. That's why I'm telling you, right, make the right decision. Please attend all these sessions with utmost sincerity and seriousness. Definitely it is going to help you one day. ಯಾವಾಗ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, but definitely it will be useful one day. So I hope people who are paying the attention to this session are finding the benefits up to the fullest extent. But people who are slightly out of focus in today's session, I would encourage all of you to somehow get back to your focus and attend the session with a lot of sincerity. Great. Thank you so much for acknowledging that in the chat section. And English is such a terrible language. That's why we have a plenty of rules over here. And that's why let me also can give you one simple example for this. Anyone is actually facing a difficulty in your real life that, sir, ನಾನು ನಂದು ಓನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಸರ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೊಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಆತರ ಹೇಳೋರಿದ್ದಾರಾ? ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಮೀ ಇನ್ ದ ಚಾಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಬಿಲೀವ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ. Okay. Academics, everything is I'm fine, sir. I am able to write examination properly, and I'm a good student. But whenever it comes to speaking, then I feel a little bit or I feel myself a little bit lagging in certain aspect. Do you know why this is happening? Do you know why this is happening? Yes, one reason is English is not your mother tongue. That is that is one of the reasons maybe. Similarly, English is not my mother tongue also. ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಇಂದ ಬಂದವನಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರೋನು. But still, why many people feel bit uncomfortable while they are talking in English language? I have figured out two reasons actually. First reason is we never try. First reason is we never try to speak in English with anybody. I'm telling you, you neither talk to your parents, you not talk to your friends, you not talk to your faculties also. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಟ್ರೈನೇ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಆಗ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. I'm telling you, not only for learning a new language, it is applicable in every single aspect of life. That's the reason why not trying to speak in English is the first drawback of many people. Please correct it if you're making this mistake. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋದಂದ್ರೆ, if you don't have anyone to speak in English language, you talk to yourself. ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಹುಚ್ಚರು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡಿ. Because we all have our private time, right? Maybe we have our own room, and nobody's interventions will be there in our life. And that is the time you just make use of your smartphone and just start talking to yourself, like I'm talking right now. Because sometimes what happens is, now that you're gem of people and you're responding in the chat section, and some other session, what happens? People come there only for attendance and they don't speak at all. And that is the time I start feeling like, what am I doing here, sitting like this, talking to myself alone for the entire 2 hours, looking at the screen, looking at the camera and all those things. And that's where I built my expertise in English language. So I'm recommending the same thing for you. You just do one thing. If you have never tried speaking to anybody in English language so far, or generally, if it is not your cup of tea, one day might be today itself, you just close yourself in an environment where no one is disturbing you, and just switch on your mobile front camera and start talking to yourself. Okay, someone is actually talking in the chat. Okay, Let me just do one thing. Let me just put everybody on mute. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to handle this. Right. Now, we'll move on to this conversation. You do this one, at least for today. You do this one. What happens? I'll tell you. The moment when you record something, whenever you talk in English, right? You just go through the same recording. And in the first attempt, you will start feeling like spitting on the camera itself, thinking that how badly you spoke in English for the first time, because most of the time what happens is we don't have the reference to our own mistakes. We never know how exactly we look when we talk in English language. This can also become a barrier whenever you talk to the people freshly in English language. And in order to avoid that, one best strategy I found out was talking to myself on the camera, right? I say something, I record myself looking at the camera, and then I go through my own recording. Literally, it is unbearable. You will never be able to see your own face more than 2 seconds of time. That's how terribly you look, and that's how terribly you speak. I'm not only talking about you, I am talking about myself as well, because this is what happened to me whenever I did it for the first time. Now, you quickly let me know in the chat section by typing one. Have you ever wished your friends on their birthday through a video wish? Have you ever wished your friends on their birthday through a video? Have you done it anytime in the past? Type 1 in the chat if you have done it. Type 0 if you have not done it. I'm looking forward to your response in the chat. And you quickly let me know. Have you done it or not? Okay, Yashaswini said that she has never done it. Varnashri also says that she has never done it. Vidya says she has never done. And I should get at least one person who has done it. No one wished your friends on their birthday through a video. And your next assignment is this itself. Okay, you have your close and best friends, right? Whenever their birthday is there, you try to record something, talking some positive things about themselves and wish them through a video. And I'll tell you what happens. The moment when you start recording, right, you will take multiple takes. One take ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಖಂಡಿತ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Second take ಅಲ್ಲೂ definitely not possible. You will be stuck in the middle. You will not get enough words to speak about themselves. Even when you know a plenty of things about themselves, you will not be able to speak. And the same thing is going to happen in your first ever interview also, because you might be thinking, right, you will go and perform on the spot. Mark my words, you will not be able to perform well on the spot unless you practice yourself, unless you have that kind of the familiarity in the venue, interview venue. You will not be able to perform very well in the interview. And that's why that preparation has to start from now. You have your best friend and you don't care if they are scolding you, right? Because many a times our friends scold us for no reason. And let's say if you're going there, your friend looks at you for no reason, he abuses you and he calls you. You know, right, what kind of words your friends use. And we never feel panic about it. We never feel so embarrassed. We never feel so serious about it. It's so normal. So that's why choose your friend, wish them on their birthday. You take multiple takes, and then once you change your way of speaking, and once you start feeling like, okay, this recording is fine and this can be sent, that's where your improvement happened. And the first thing for all of you to recommend is that if you don't try, definitely you will be a loser towards the end. That's why please start making an attempt. At least you can start talking to your friends or your parents if possible, or your faculties for sure. Okay. And if these three are not available for you, you have your smartphone, talk to yourself. That's the one thing. Second thing, why English is a limitation for majority of the people. Second thing is, I say poor vocabulary. Anyone who thinks like this, sir, I have a very poor vocabulary. That's the reason why I don't speak in English. Quickly tell me a me in the chat. ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? Quickly type a me in the chat, because these are the things I have analyzed for myself, and that's why I know each and everything precisely, and I will be the best person to address this. ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಈಸಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸರ್? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ನೀವು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದೊಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, in case ನೀವು figure out ಮಾಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, that means you have figured out that you have the problem of choosing the right word. or choosing the word itself, then my recommendation to all of you is that quickly let me know in the chat section what is your area of interest. ಯಾವ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಫ್ಯಾಸಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. Which area fascinates you the most? Some people might say, sir, movies will fascinate me a lot because I spend a lot of time watching movies. That actually becomes your interest. Some people also say, sir, reading novels actually is my fascination, and that gives me so much of pleasure. That is also fine. And then some people also say, sir, ನನಗೆ ಕುಕ್ಕರಿ ಚಾನಲ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಆ ಚಾನಲ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋದು ಇಷ್ಟ. Okay, that is also fine. Some people will say, sir, ನನಗೆ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ ಸರ್, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಬೇಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು ನನಗೆ ನೋಡೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ. So this something like this, you will have your own area of interest. Knowingly or unknowingly, definitely you will have this kind of a minor thing along with you and figure it out first. ಯಾವುದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಫ್ಯಾಸಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ, ಮೂವಿನ ಅಥವಾ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. And talking to your friends may be fascinating you, adventure may be fascinating you. Correct, Darshan, that is really great. But ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಏರಿಯಾನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Now you start watching a lot of YouTube videos, because this is the best recommendation I can make at this moment. YouTube, just go there and just start following some of the YouTube channels they that actually talk about your area of interest. For example, ನಿಮಗೆ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಬೇಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ಇದ್ದು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ. That's where a plenty of debates will be happening in English language, and silently you will start observing them, and you will start observing their body language when they speak. More importantly, you will start gathering a different words related to politics. Gathering different words related to politics. And ನಿಮಗೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವಾಗಾದ್ರೂ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಂತ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ, you will be the best and wonderful person to talk about it if you have gathered a plenty of different words related to this particular aspect. For example, I can also give you, if you are a person who is very much into gaming aspect, okay, you are very much into gaming, then you have to follow that kind of a YouTube channel where gaming description is given, or someone like Carrie Minati, right? He's a sports commentator also, right? I don't say sports commentator, but gaming commentator. He plays PUBG and all, and he gives commentary in the background. Piche se aa rahe, maro unko maro, something like this. But you have to follow an English channel. That's where your expertise in speaking the English language will grow effectively, right? That is what one thing. And if you're extremely interested in cooking, then you have to follow some cookery channels and please start watching their videos. That's where you will gather a plenty of words related to cooking. Nowadays, I know many people don't even know. If you go to your kitchen and if someone asks you what is this called in English, you will not be able to say that. Basic word, you can say something like spoon, fork, pan, tadai, all those things. You can say that. But some critical things are there, right? The equipments, the utensils that you use in a kitchen, you will not be able to figure it out. But the moment when you follow a lot of cookery channels, you will get the idea of every utensils there and every ingredient that you see in the kitchen in English language itself. And that's where next time when you are asked to talk about any sort of cooking event, you will be the best person to do it. This is how you gather the expertise in different levels. The same applicable to your interview also. If you are so much fond of interviews and your career aspirations, you start following any sort of YouTube channels that will give you the idea related to this recruitment process. They will be talking a lot many things about recruitment, right? The moment when you start watching, observing them, you will also start gathering a plenty of new words, and that will actually make your things easier rather than your own preparation. If someone is there to teach you, it becomes very much easier for you to understand also and to grab information very effectively. And that's why watching someone and following someone who is extremely good at the language usage is also very, very important thing. That's why you just identify your area of interest and start watching the related videos. That's where you gather up plenty of words, and you will also be able to use it effectively in the next time whenever you need it the most. For example, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of cilantro? Quickly in the chat section. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇದು ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಸಿಲಾಂಟ್ರೋ. Or you tell me, how many of you are using this word for the first time in your life? How many of you are looking at this question for the first time in your life? Quickly type a number 1 in the chat. ನೀವು ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ type number 1 in the chat. So let me check how many people are looking at this for the first time. Yashaswini said 1. Thank you so much, Yashaswini, for acknowledging. Darshan also said 1. Vidya said 1. Chetan Gowda, Varnashri. Yeah, many people have said that first time. Okay, ಇದು ಬಿಡಿ, ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ. ಸಿಲಾಂಟ್ರೋ ಬೇಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಕೊರಿಯಂಡರ್ ಲೀವ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಕೊರಿಯಂಡರ್ ಲೀವ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಎಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Coriander leaves, any sort of cuisine is incomplete without coriander leaves. You know, a lot of blogging channels, right? Maybe food bloggers will be there. The two majorly used food items, or I would say the food ingredient, one is cheese and one more is coriander leaves. Okay, idilladre yava cooking recipe kuda complete agodilla. Maybe food bloggers ittaralla avara case alli. So coriander leaves is something that you use to garnish some of the recipes, right? So cilantro is one of the other word for the same thing, coriander leaves. Okay, cilantro is the same word for dhania. Dhania andre gottalva, same word. Okay, that can be used there. Similarly, everyone knows brinjal. Everyone knows brinjal as a vegetable there. And what if I told you, you will also have one more word for this brinjal, and that is called eggplant. Generally, we Indians call it brinjal, but Western country don't actually use the word brinjal. Rather, they would use eggplant as the word, right? And these are all the words I gathered after I started watching a cookery channel, because I'm very fond of cooking and cooking is my hobby. And learning should happen like this. You should identify your area of interest, and that's where you have to expertise yourself. And rather than going with something that you don't really like, it is better to go with something that you like and gain knowledge over there. These are the main two advices I have. First advice is, please start trying to speak in English, because that's where your improvement will start. And in the process of learning a new language, poor vocabulary should not stop you. That's why, in order to improve the vocabulary, you can watch YouTube and follow some of the relevant channels for yourself so that you can improve yourself. Now, tell me if this instruction was useful to you. Tell me a cool in the chat. Let me check how many cool I would get in the chat. But again, I'm telling you one more important thing. ಈ ಸೆಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಆಕ್ಷನ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಯು, nothing is going to work out. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಚೇತನ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್. Even if the world's best trainer is coming over here and training you on language and grammar skill, you will never grow unless you take the action. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ? But if you are not taking the action, nothing is going to change in your life. Because recently I was going through one of the Instagram videos. I have been active on Instagram so many times, because for learning and development, these social media platforms could be so much useful for facilitators. And that's where we gather plenty of information also. And it purely depends upon how exactly you use all of this, right? So I am very active on these social media sites. And recently, when I was going through one of the YouTube reels, sorry, not YouTube reels, Instagram reels, I was surprised to see one of the important point made by one of the influential people there. And he said that even though you have thousands of positive influences in your life, even though you have thousands of positive influences in your life, your life will never change unless you take the action. Okay, 1000 jana positive agi matador idru kuda ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, nothing is going to happen. No initiation will be happening if you are not taking the action. But reverse way will always work out. That means if you have one negative influencer in your life, you don't need to take any action. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ನೀವೇನ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳದಿದ್ರು ಆ ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇರ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅವರಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ negative has a very greater impact on the positive stuffs in the world every single time. But what exactly is going to win at the end? Definitely positivity is going to win, right? That's why I'm telling you, 1,000 positive influences in life. Nothing is going to happen if you take unless you take the action. But with the help of one negative influencer, your life can end in a disastrous way. That's why I'm telling you, take the action, take the suggestions of the influential people there. So I hope the whatever jnana I transfer to all of you is sufficient. Now we shall get into the conversation that we have got for today's session. Again, I told you something very important in the beginning of the conversation itself. That is, we are going to discuss one topic which is actually related on the topic that we already discussed. That is based on tenses. Okay. And the topic we are going to discuss in today's session is related to question tags. We're going to discuss something related to question tags. Now, can anyone tell me what exactly is the meaning of question tags? If you know it, you tell me number 1 in the chat. If you don't know, you can tell me a 0 also in the chat. Question tag. Have you heard of this particular word anytime in the past? You quickly let me know in the chat if you have heard it. Question tag. Okay. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Okay. I told you to meet me. I told you to meet me in the department. In the department, isn't it? Isn't it? Now tell me, have you ever heard your faculties say this sentence during the school days or college days? Yes means yes, no means no. I told you to meet me in the department, isn't it? Have you ever seen your faculties use this kind of a sentence during your school days or in the college days? Now, I told you something very, very important, that these kind of things are called question tags. Mainly what happens is the question tag is something that comes towards the end. That is going to come over here. This is called question tag. And now in the spoken English, everyone must have felt that your faculty is so good at speaking and that's why they are using these kind of question tags. But I'll tell you, it is grammatically incorrect. Now, if you also have noticed that it's grammatically incorrect, quickly type a me in the chat. Let me check. How many of you believe that it's a grammatically incorrect sentence? Very good. Rahul says that it is correct. Rahul says it's correct. Okay. Varnashri says that she feels that it is incorrect. Okay. I told you to meet me in the department, isn't it? See, isn't it is a question tag where every single time, whenever you have it as a subject or this as a subject, okay, okay, something like you can use like this. It is very simple. It is very simple. And then you can use a question tag like, isn't it? And why are you using isn't it here? Because the subject itself was it, right? That's why you are using isn't it. ಈಗ ನೀವು ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ isn't it ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ it ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ? Yes means yes, no means no. Quickly let me know in the chat. ನಿಮಗೆ isn't it ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು, ಆಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ not possible. So that means this sentence, whatever your faculty used to tell earlier, right, that is definitely a wrong sentence. So now basically what you need to do is you need to definitely know how exactly these things are made in the question tag aspect. You should definitely know the concept of this question tag before you get into the actual conversation of question tag related problem. Now we shall discuss that one after the other, but before that let me just give you a very small example of a question tag. You can see here, it is hot day, isn't it? You can see here, it is used in the sentence already. That's why one more time you're using isn't it as a question tag there. So question tag is something that actually comes towards the end and it will give you a greater clarity and you want the listener to emphasize more on the previous sentence that you have used. ಇಲ್ಲಿ isn't it ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ previously used sentence ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೂಕ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. It will add some weightage to the sentence that you have used earlier. That's it. ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲ. But you cannot make mistake while adding the question tag. I'm telling you, question tag is definitely not necessarily needed in the sentence, but if you're using it, it should be grammatically correct. It should not be incorrect. Right. ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ರು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. Now you can see here the final part. You can see the final part in the sentence has isn't in the statement, right? And it is added to invite the listener's attention to the statement. See here, listener ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವರನ್ನ ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವರ ಅಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡ್ರ್ಯಾಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ isn't it actually used. This type of question form added to the end of the statement. Okay, ಇದು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ question ಇದೆ end ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. That's why it is called question tag. And the statement should always end with a comma. That means you see here, it is a hot day, and it should not be a full stop because the sentence is not going to end here, but it is a continuation there, right? Isn't it is a continuation of that. That's why it should always end with a comma. Comma means the sentence is going to continue later on, right? And tag should be ended with the question mark because you see that itself is called question tag there. That's why it should be ending in a question mark. So basically idea is question tag comes towards the end and previous part of the sentence should end with the comma symbol, and finally the sentence should end with the question mark. This is the overall idea of question tag. Now tell me a perfect in the chat section if you have understood what exactly is the meaning of question tag. Quickly tell me a perfect in the chat if you at least got an idea what exactly is question tag. So I'm looking forward to your response in the chat. If you have understood this, you should type a perfect in the chat section. And I have taken a lot of patience to explain this. That's why my effort should not be going in vain. And if it should not be going in vain, you should definitely respond in the chat. Thank you so much, Yashaswini. Thank you so much, Kavya, for acknowledging. Thank you so much, Chetan, for acknowledging. Right. Now, you look at here. You look at here. Question tag alli yavaglu ee format alli bandirutte nodi. Okay. Question tag yavaglu short format alli bandirutte. For example, they might ask you like, isn't it? Isn't it is one format. Don't is one more format. Isn't. Okay. That is one more format I already explained. And then sometimes aren't, then haven't, okay, hasn't, hadn't, everything. All these will be in the format like this. Okay. And other the meaning, that is just the short form of do not. Isn't is the short form of is not. Aren't is the short form of are not. Okay. So we are reading. You see here, we are reading. And in this case, you have to frame the sentence like, aren't we reading? That is how you have to ask the question. This is a positive one, right? And if it is a positive sentence, make sure that your question tag is always negative. And ನಿಮ್ಮ first part ಅಲ್ಲಿ negative sentence ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ second part ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ positive ಇರಬೇಕು. For example, if the sentence is like, we are not reading. We are not reading. Tell me, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ question tag ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. We are not reading. Question tag ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Now you need to understand the first part is a negative one. Okay, that is we are not reading is a negative one. And what happens in the question tag? Anyone who can tell me? Very good. Darshan is the first one to come up with the answer, followed by Kavya, and Yashaswini is the next one to come up with the answer. That is really beautiful. So now if you look at here, we are not reading. Now it should not be a negative sentence for sure. So not word should not come. That's why subject you should use the same as you have used over here, right? And then aren't we? Aren't we? Sorry, aren't we should not come because it's a negative one, right? So I made a mistake here. I'm so sorry. Since the first part is a negative one, it should be a positive one here. It should be ending like are we. And understanding is this one, whatever verb you are using here, right? The same format of the verb should be there. But if it is negative, it should be positive here. But if it is positive here, it should be in the negative format. But the same word should be there. Are means are only coming there. Then whatever subject you are using in the first part, right? The same subject should come over here also in the question tag. That is the observation you need to make. So I hope it's clear to everybody. And like I mentioned already, there are two types of question tag. One is a positive question tag, and this will be used when the sentence is negative. When the sentence is negative. And one more is negative tags, and this will be used when the sentence is positive. Sentence in the previous part is positive. So in that case, you will be using a negative tag. And you will understand if I give you a sentence like this. See, she is not dancing. She is not dancing. And then if you want to use the question tag, you need to understand not has been used in the sentence. So that means it's a negative sentence. And your question tag should be a positive one. And question tag ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ವರ್ಬ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಸೇಮ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅದು. ಸೊ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾಟ್ ಇದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಯಾವ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲೇಟರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ಈಸ್, ಶಿ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಒನ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಏನಿರ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. ಇಫ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಟು ಅ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್. ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಹೇಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಆರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್, anything whatever you have used here, the same thing should be coming over here. Okay, auxiliary verb plus subject should be coming there. And subject ಆದ ನಂತರ ಯಾವುದು ನೀವು ಮರಿಲೇಬಾರದು, ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. So that's why auxiliary verb should be there, subject should be there, and a question mark should also be there. Tell me, noted in the chat section, if you have, quickly make a note of this one. Quickly tell me if you have made a note of this. Type a noted in the chat. Very important. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, please make a note of this. If you have made a note of this, type a noted in the chat. So I'm looking forward to your response in the chat. Great. Thank you so much everyone for acknowledging. And now we shall move on to the next conversation here. You have to tell me right now, we are working. ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. We are working. We are working, comma, question tag ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. We are working. What happens to the question tag? And Kavya, you have used an exclamation mark towards the end. I feel that it's a typing error there, but exclamation should not come there. Instead of exclamation, you should use a question mark. Very good. Yashaswini, you're right. Yes. Darshan, you're also right. Varnashri, you're right. See, the same auxiliary verb you should be using, right? Are should be used. But understand one thing, we are working andre adu positive athava negative you heli. Quick agi namage heli. We are working andre a sentence positive alli idya negative alli idya. Positive means P, negative means N. Let me check. It's a positive sentence, right? And I told you, if the sentence whatever is asked is there in the positive one, then your question tag should always be negative. That's why it should be aren't. Aren't, and then subject should be used as we, and don't forget the question mark. Answer is aren't we is the right answer. And you can see here. Okay, you can see here, aren't we is the right answer. So if you look at here, very simple question. If the first part is negative, second part should be positive. And in the second case, if the first part is positive, second part is negative. And this is what I want all of you to note down. And please quickly make a note of this particular slide also. Very important, because here is where auxiliary verb should be taken along with the not, and then subject should be taken, and then a question mark is the right strategy to create the question tag here. So I hope it's clear to everybody. And now let me just give you some of the positive statements as well as negative statements, and how to add the question tag for that particular aspect. And you can see it in the table here. You have something like you are coming. You are coming, right? This is the sentence number one. You are coming is there in the positive sentence, and whenever you add a question tag there, negative question tag should come because it is already positive, right? And how are you going to use? The same auxiliary verb should come there. That's why are. Since it is positive, you should use a negative here. That's why are not. And whatever subject you are using there, the same subject should be used along with the question mark. And that's why you are coming will be written as aren't you as the negative question tag. Done. we have finished. Now understand one thing. In this case, are or is not given, but they have used is there. Sorry, they have used have there. Same thing. Whatever auxiliary you're using here, right? The same thing should be there. And since you can see it is a positive here, you should use a negative term here. So haven't, whatever subject you're using, that should be coming over here. Haven't we? Then you do like coffee. You do like coffee. See, now in this case, do is the auxiliary verb. So the same thing should be used there, but in the negative form, it will become don't. And the subject is you. Similarly, you like coffee. In this case, they don't mention a do, but definitely you need to understand it is in the present tense. You like coffee is there in the present tense. And present tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಡೂ ಅಥವಾ ಡಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಡಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. If nothing is mentioned like this, let's say you like coffee. You like coffee. ಈಗ do ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಡಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ? ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಯುಗೆ ನಾನು ಸಿಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಲೂರಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? ನಾನು ಮೊದಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, whenever you comes there, you should always use the plural form of the verb. ಈಗ ಹೇಳಿ, do is the plural form of the verb or does is the plural form of the verb? Do is the plural form, right? That's why we are using do over here, and the negative sentence don't you is the answer. But in the place of you like coffee, you like coffee, if it was mentioned like he likes coffee, tell me what should be the question tag? He likes coffee. In that case, what should be the question tag? Anyone who can tell me the answer quickly? He likes coffee. What should be the question tag? I would look forward to your response in the chat. I'm very good. Yashaswini is the first one to come up with the answer. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much for coming up with the response. And what about the rest of the people? Yes, understanding is very simple. He likes coffee means it is there in the present tense, but he is in the singular form, right? You have to use the singular form of the verb itself. That's why it will happen to be does. And since it is positive, it should become does not, and the same subject should be used. Does not he is the right answer. Similarly, you see here, they will help. In that case, will should happen to be in the negative form, which will be won't. Okay, will not is the answer, but in the short form, you can write it as won't. Will not in the short form, it is written as won't, and then same they should be used there. I can come, then it should be written in the negative form, and can will remain in the same format, right? Same format. So that's why can, because whatever auxiliary verb you're using, the same thing should be coming in the question tag also. So can has been used. Since it is positive, you should make it into a negative. So can't will happen there, and then I will remain the same, and then question mark. We must go, then must not we is the real question tag. He should try harder, should not he is the right answer, because should cannot be changed. It should be in the same format, but should is positive, you should use should not in the question tag, and then he is the subject. That's why I'm using he and the question mark. Now, if you have understood this slide, tell me a perfect in the chat so that I will get a clear understanding that you have got a perfect picture of this particular slide. So I hope that everyone has understood this particular slide clearly. Now, I want your response in the chat section very accurately if you have understood this. And we also planned to conduct an offline training program for all of you, and that's where I will be making each and everyone to talk to me. Right now, hardly very rare number of people are talking to me, right? And the moment when you start spending time with me, right, you will be a different person. And this assurance I'm giving you, and that's the reason why it is very, very important for everyone to respond here. And I will make sure that even at least during the offline session, I will make everyone to talk to me like you talk to your friends. Okay, so thank you so much everyone who has been acknowledging right from the beginning, and we'll get into the next aspect over there. So next aspect, you can predict it actually. If positive sentence is given, you know how to do the negative question tag to that. Now, if I go to the reverse case, that means negative statement is given and you have to make the positive question tag. How will you make it? Something like this. It is not raining. It is not raining. Then you can see that it's in the negative sentence format. And if it is a negative sentence format, you know how to convert that into a positive question tag. And how will you do it? Anyone who can tell me quickly? How will you convert this into a positive question tag is the question. Tell me. I'm looking forward to your response in the chat section. I'm looking that, and I have not seen any responses there in the chat so far. Okay. Yashaswini is the one who has come up with the answer. It is not raining. So I told you, whatever auxiliary verb you're using in the sentence, the same thing should come here. But understanding is, if it is negative sentence, you should convert it into a positive one. So positive of is not is only, right? That's why I'm using is. And then the same subject should be used in the sentence. But don't forget the question mark towards the end. Done? Then we have never seen that. We have never seen that. Now, we have never seen that means never is in the negative format, right? And have has been used. The same thing should be used here also. That's why have has been used. And negative should convert it into positive. Have itself is the positive form. Have we is the right answer. Okay. Now, you don't like coffee. Now, don't is there in the negative sentence. Use the same format of the auxiliary verb, which is do. And then you have negative should be removed there, and then the subject is you, and the question mark directly do you is the answer. They will not help. Will they is the answer. They won't report. Then will they is the answer. I can never do it right. Can I is the question tag. We must not tell her. Then the question tag must we. Then he should not drive so fast. Should he? You won't be late, will you? So that means if you are saying a positive sentence, your question tag should be in the negative format. And if you are saying a negative sentence, your question tag should be in the positive tag. That's it. That's the idea of question tag. So I hope both of these slides are clear to all of you. Now, let us quickly move on to the next slide. Uh, Sometimes what happens is some of the positive statements will be treated as a negative statement only. For example, if you look at here, I will give you an example here uh, like this. Some of the positive statements that will be treated as negative statement only. For example, he never came again. He never came again. Now, he came again means it is a positive sentence, right? And if you see never used over there, it will be considered a negative statement there. Negative statement there. So now, since you have used the he never came again. Now this is there in the past tense, right? Because came, you can see this is in the past tense. And if it is there in the past tense, don't you feel that you have to use the past format of the verb? Okay, past format of the verb. What is the past format of the verb? It is do or did. Definitely it is did. So he never came again means he did not come again. The real idea is he did not come again. This is the meaning. And now since did is used there, you are using the same question, same auxiliary verb here, did. And since it is negative, you're using a positive one, and then the subject is he, and you're using he there and the question mark. And then she can rarely come these days. She can rarely come these days. So that means rarely ಅಂದ್ರೆ positive ಅದು negative ಹೇಳಿ. How often you go to your uh, how often you go to your granny's place? I go there rarely. Now is it a positive one or is it a negative one? So I go there is a positive one itself. I go there rarely is a negative one, right? And that's why you should consider this positive statement also as a negative one whenever rarely comes there. So she can rarely come these days. And then can has been used, right? So the same question, same auxiliary verb you should be using, and the subject is she, right? That's why you're using she, and in the question mark symbol must be used. And you hardly ever come late. That means the sentence is positive only. That means yaro obru ಬಹಳ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಸಲ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಅವ್ರು ಆನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅ negative sentence, because hardly is that kind of a sentence which should be considered a negative aspect actually. So, or it is also called a semi-negative. It is called a semi-negative, I can say. Hardly is not purely negative, but it is a negative sentence. Hardly I have got the time. What's the meaning of hardly I have got the time? It does it really mean that you have got time? No, you did not get the time is the meaning, right? Hardly I got the time. That's why this is a negative sentence. So you hardly ever came late. Since it is in the past tense, you should go to the past tense form itself. So did is the past tense form. You should be used there. So did you is the right answer. I barely know you. I barely know you means it is not something like I know you, but it indirectly means that I don't know you perfectly. I barely know you means ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ನೀವು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು, ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಐ ಬೇರ್ಲಿ ನೋ ಯು ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಯು. If it is I don't know you, what question tag you should be using? Positive. Do I is the right answer. And then you would scarcely expect her to know that. Okay, scarcely means it gives a meaning of least, the minimum possibility, least andre almost illa anta artha. So you would scarcely expect her to know that. So again, would is the auxiliary verb, you will be using would. Since it is negative, you're using it in the positive format itself, and then you comes there along with the question mark. So I hope this slide is also clear to all of you. So I believe whenever certain positive sentence is also given, please understand any typical words are involved such that I can predict whether it is positive or negative. And if I can show you this slide, you can see here, if these words are coming in the sentence, definitely you can consider that they are negative. Consider them negative. Even if the sentence is positive, you can consider them negative. Rarely comes, scarcely comes, hardly, little, few, seldom. All these words are the indicators to identify that the sentence is negative one. And of course, if you have not, never, nor, neither, nor, none, no one, nothing, nobody, nevertheless, every single things have no in it, right? That's why you can consider them directly a negative one. Why this identification is important? Because question tag can be decided based on the format of the sentence, right? Whether it is positive or negative. That's why it becomes very much important for you to make a note of this. Quickly take a screenshot of this slide and then quickly type a done in the chat. So if you type done, it means that you have understood the slide. Also, you have taken the screenshot. Let me check how many people have taken the screenshot perfectly. Thank you so much, everybody, for acknowledging that it is done. Thank you so much. And I hope that everyone has got a clear understanding on this particular concept. And let us quickly get into the exercise problem now. But before we move on to the exercise problem, you should also know the short form of all those things, right? And short form means you can just see over here. Okay, let me just show you that here. Yes. The negative format, how to convert the question into a negative format. See, I am, this is there in the sentence means how will the question tag happens to be? It should be like am not, right? It should be am not. Sorry, yeah, am not. And am not can be written in the short form like anti. Okay, it should be something like and I. And now anti is not only applicable for am not, it can also be applicable for have, it can be applicable for have, it can be applicable for are, it can be applicable for is also. Are is not there, is can also be applied over here. In all these cases, you can use and, but typically for I am, you will be using the question tag in the negative format like anti. He is will become isn't he, we are will become aren't we, she has will become hasn't she, they have will become haven't they, you must will become must not you, he may will become may not he, and then she should be used as a shouldn't he, shouldn't she. Now you must be having a confusion here, sir. He may, cannot I use might not? Might not, if you use there, the auxiliary word used in this case is may. And how do you change the auxiliary verb format over here into might? Definitely you should not do that. Auxiliary verb should remain the same in both the cases. And that's what you're able to see here. Is remaining is only. It is not made as was there. Okay, it is not made was. Only if it is given as he was, it will be converted into wasn't he. But you cannot convert the present into past or do any sort of changes. Auxiliary verb should be remaining in the same format. So I hope you know how to do this, the negative question tag for a positive sentence itself. And all the examples whatever we have discussed so far is available here. The examples that we already discussed. She is writing a letter. Now is there, it is in the helping verb and it is in the positive form. Should convert it into negative form. How will you do that? Isn't. And then the subject whatever you used here, that should be she only with the question mark. That's it. And then he has created problems. Has is the auxiliary verb. The same thing should be used there, has, but in the negative format. Hasn't. Subject should be he only. Hasn't he? Question mark. Done. You have passed the examination, haven't you? You were sleeping in the class, weren't you? Should be the answer. You should never make a mistake like this, like your faculty did. They were sleeping in the class, isn't it? They were sleeping in the class, isn't it? Many people make the same mistake, adding this isn't it towards the end because of no reason. They don't even know how to use this question tag. And now after attending today's session from Chetan Kumar from XeligentEdu.com, you should never make this mistake one more time in your life. Isn't it will be used only when the subject in the sentence is. Otherwise, you can never use isn't it there. I hope it is clear to everybody. And next one, you can see here how to convert a negative or let's say some of the examples here. He goes to school. Goes, it is there in the format of does, right? Singular format. That's why you should go for doesn't he. Then Karan plays the piano. Doesn't she? Because you need to decide whether it is male or female. In most of the cases, it will be easier for you to identify. But in this case, current, they are considering it to be a negative, a female entity. They earn a lot of money, don't they? You dislike fish, don't you? They are at the museum, aren't they? Sandra is on the phone, isn't she? I'm good. Okay. And then in this case, it's not aren't I, it should be anti. It should be anti. So I told you, right? How to convert am not. Okay, how to convert I am into a negative sentence. It is something like and I. So make a correction here. I am good. It's not aren't I, because I never use are with I, right? I are good. I are beautiful. I are so good. Something like this. So you should use it as and I. It's not aren't I. It should be and I. So I hope this is the only change you need to make here. I am good. Anti is the question tag. So I believe it's clear to everybody. Quickly type a clear in the chat. So that is there. That this much itself is there in the question tag. Nothing else that you can expect from question tag. Most of the time when you are good at identification of the tenses, identification of the pronoun and the subject, then it becomes very much easier for you to identify the real changes that you need to make in the sentence. So as long as your question tag questions are concerned, this itself right now you definitely have got the expertise in question tag section. And you can see here, they walk to school. Now you understand that this is given in the past tense, right? Walked is in the past tense. So it is there in the positive aspect also. So you have to convert it into past tense along with the negative sentence. What is that? Did not they? Done. You drank coffee, did not you? The mall was empty, wasn't it? Because the mall, here you should not use the mall word one more time. That's a good thing I have come up with right now. Many people might do like this, wasn't the mall, because I told you whatever subject you have used in the previous sentence, the same thing should come here, right? And here the sentence is the mall was empty. Now you should not use wasn't the mall. Don't do that. Don't do that mistake. It should be the mall means it is singular entity. and every single time whenever it is given like this, you should use it as the reference there. So it was empty, definitely it was empty, right? So that means wasn't it should be the appropriate sentence here. Then you are late for school yesterday, weren't you? Why? Where is the helping verb? You should use it in the same format but in the negative sentence, and then the subject is you and the question mark. That's it. Very simple logic it is also. That's why I definitely know that you have got 9 out of 10 expertise in the concept of question tag. But still, if it is confusing for you, you can just see these examples to create the question tag. For example, she sings. Okay, she sings. If they're giving like this, it is the meaning of she does sing. Okay, it is a meaning like she does sing. That means does is the word and then sing is the verb. That's it. Now, based on this, you can actually make the correction. Okay, she sings, doesn't she? You should make the question tag like doesn't she, and that's why you can do that. And then they sing. If I give you they sing, you cannot use doesn't they, because the subject verb agreement will be altered there. Sing means it is the format of do sing. Okay, they do sing. They do sing is the aspect, and if it is they do sing, the question tag should be don't they. Okay, they sing. That means don't they is the right question tag. Sang means it happened in the past, right? That means did sing is the aspect. So they did sing. So if did comes there, then the question tag that you need to use is they did not. They did not. All these are positive sentences. That's why I'm using a negative question tag here. If it is given in the negative question tag, for example, she doesn't sing. She doesn't sing. Tell me, what is the right question tag for this? Anyone who can tell me? She does not sing. What is the right question tag for this sentence? I'm looking forward to your response. Very good, Kavya. You're the first one to come up with the answer. Does should be used again because the same auxiliary verb in the same format should be used, but it is in the negative form. You should convert it into positive, which is does itself. And then the subject is she. So you're using she. And don't forget the question mark. Answer is does she. Answer is does she. That's it. Darshan, you have missed the question mark towards the end. That is very much necessary. I understand what you're trying to say, but grammatically, whenever you write something, if you miss the question mark, it is definitely not acceptable. Make sure that you're paying attention to this. I am very much sure that you have missed it just because of the typing mistake, but you have the right idea behind this particular strategy. So I hope it is clear to everybody. And now I have made some sort of effort to show you how exactly different words are shown here. Accompanies means it is does accompany. Only accompany means it is do accompany. Accompanied means it is did accompany. You need to identify this one perfectly, whether I should use does, do, or did in the question tag. Similarly for belongs, belongs means does belong. Belong means do belong. Belonged means did belong. Same way for bends. Bends means does bend. Bend is do bend. Bent means it is done in the past tense, so it is did bend. The same thing for shines. Shines means does shine. Shine means do shine. Shone. Okay. Shone is the past tense of shine. That's why it is did shine. Okay. So then cost. Cost means does cost. Cost is do cost, and one more is cost. You can use costed. Okay, you can say costed here. Costed means did cost it is. Okay. Then leads. Does lead, do lead, and led means it is did lead actually the aspect. So I hope it is clear to everybody. And then now I have the some of the exercise problem for you. And let me check who comes up with the quickest answer. And exercise, before I move on to the exercise problem, I have something very, very important for you, and that is given over here. Look at here. I would like to give it here itself as a question. And the question that I would like to give you is, I said that. Okay, I said that. Tell me what happens in the question tag. I said that. What happens in the question tag? I said that. What happens in the question tag? I said that. Now said, you need to understand, said is in the past tense. So you should use the question tag along with the appropriate format of the verb. Will you use do? Will you use does? Will you use did? That is important now. Very good. I said means it is in the past tense. So you should definitely use in the same format. Okay. Said. In the previous slide itself, I told you something like this, right? Accompanied anta bandre, idu past tense alva. Idra meaning eno? Did accompany anta artha. ಈಗ ನಾನು said anta ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅದರ meaning ಏನು? Said ಅಂದ್ರೆ I did say. Meaning is did say. ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ವರ್ಡ್ did ಅಲ್ವಾ? So you have to use did, but I said that ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು positive. You have to use it in the negative format right now. So did not I is the right answer. ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ wasn't I ಅಂತ. Wasn't I ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಲ್ಪಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಬ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ was ಅಂತ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, I was right. Okay, I was right. Wasn't I? You can say that, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವುದು did format ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ was ಅಂತ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದು. So that is wrong. That's not right. And then somebody asked me, do I? Do I ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ I don't say that. I don't say that. I don't say that ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ do I ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Okay, because only if it is a negative sentence you will be using a positive here, but illi I said that anta positive alli ide, you should convert it into the negative one and you should maintain the same tense there. So said another past tense, so did should definitely come there. So did not I is the right answer to this question. So I hope it's clear to everybody. And now one more question I'll give you. You don't recognize me. Tell me what should be the answer. Question tag for this. You don't recognize me. You don't recognize me. Tell me what should be the question tag. You don't recognize me. Now don't anta use ಮಾಡಿದನಲ್ಲಿ don't anta idre negative already and positive ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು don't idre do ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದು. Okay, don't ಇದ್ದದ್ದು do ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Then the same subject should be used. Answer is you, and then a question mark to you is the right answer. So I hope it is clear to everybody. Now Kavita has not eaten. Kavita has not eaten. Now tell me, how will you convert this into a question tag? Kavita has not eaten. ಇದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? Has not ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಅಂಡ್ ಯಾವ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ ಅದೇ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಬರಬೇಕು. So that means has she is the right answer. That's it. Very simple. ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ಹ್ಯಾಸೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಕವಿತಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕವಿತಾ. Don't make this mistake, okay? Because the same name should not be coming one more time. Kavita ಅನ್ನೋದು ಲೇಡಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಲೇಡಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲಿ? Has she. Don't make a mistake. Answer should be has she. Don't write has Kavita. Great. So I believe it's clear to every single one out there. Now, very, very important rule it is. And if this rule is applicable every single time, whenever somebody is asking you to do some action, or whenever someone is asking you to do something. For example, tell me, someone is telling you like this, come in. Come in. Then tell me what is the question tag they should be using? Come in. Now, understanding is very simple. Understanding is very simple. Come in ಅಲ್ಲಿ verb ಇದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. Come ಅನ್ನೋದು do form of the verb, because do come is the answer. Came ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ did come ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ comes ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ does come ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So come ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ do come. Done. Come in ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಬಟ್ ದ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ತರ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಅ ನೋಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೂಲ್. Very important rule it is. You quickly make note of this rule. After a positive imperative sentence, positive imperative sentence, or I can also call it a command or instruction, right? Come in, go home, all these are instructions. Every single time you should use won't you, because ಇದನ್ನ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ನನಗೇನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಲ್ಲ ಇದು, ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. So every single time whenever I'm instructing someone and if I'm using the question tag there, then it should be won't you. Come in, won't you? Go home, won't you? This is the right question format for them. Whenever I'm instructing someone or someone else is instructing someone else, you should use won't you as the question tag. Okay. Sit down. Tell me, what is the question tag? Sit down. Sit down. What is the question tag? Anyone who can tell me? Sit down anta helidru kuda idu yaro obru innobರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಲ್ವಾ? So sit down. ಅವರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ won't you? Sit down, won't you? That is the right one. Stand up. That is also an instruction, right? Stand up. So that means you have to ask them, stand up, won't you? That is the right one. So if you are using a positive imperative sentence, you should always use the negative one in the future tense. That is won't. Won't is the future, right? Will idu negative format is won't. So won't you should be the right question tag used over there. So I hope it is clear to every single one out there. And now we shall move on to the next conversation there. And in the next thing, what I have for all of you is that if you are using a negative imperative sentence, for example, go there anta ide alva, go there another positive imperative, and this is also an instruction you're giving someone. Go there, won't you? Is the right question tag. But if you are saying like don't go there, okay, you're using like don't go there, don't go there. Tell me, how will you convert this into a question tag? Anyone who can tell me the answer? Don't go there. It is also an instruction. It is exactly opposite to the positive imperative sentence. This go there is a positive imperative, but it is a negative imperative. Negative imperative. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯು ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಐ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಶಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. In that case, you should understand that it is a imperative sentence, but you should understand whether it is positive or negative. Definitely, it's a negative imperative sentence. In that case, you should use not won't you, but you should use will you. You should use the answer as will you. Don't go there. Will you is the expected question tag over there. So I hope it is clear to everybody. Very good. So Varnashri, a small mistake happened from your side. Do you anta use ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇರಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ, ಬಟ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇಂಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಗೋ ದೇರ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಗೋ ಬೈ ಅ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ negative imperative sentence, and that is given over here. After a negative imperative sentence, you will always use will you. For example, don't forget, will you? Don't go there, will you? Don't call me, will you? That is the right question tag whenever imperative sentences are given. So I hope it is clear to every single one out there. Now I'm going to give you one separate question and I'm going to check how many of you are going to give me the answer very quickly. For example, let's go to the party. Okay, let's go to the party. Now tell me, what should be the question tag? It's a special case right now, and if you can answer this, then I can definitely conclude today's session with the very, very positive note that you have understood all the concepts clearly. Let's go to the party. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ question tag ಹೇಗೆ add ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಹೇಳಿ? Let's go to the party ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಏನು ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲಾನು? Quickly. Let's go to the party andre nanu kuda include agidene ilva? There are so many people along with me and I'm asking them that we can go to the party. Iga idanna nanu question tag ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Anusha is the first one to come up with the answer. Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Anusha, for coming up with the question, coming up with the question tag, right question tag. Let's go to the party. Then the right question tag is this one. Shall we? ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಅಂತ, ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಹತ್ರ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? So that is shall we is the right question tag over there. And every single time whenever you have let's write, you have to use the question tag like shall we. For example, let's have a party, shall we? Let's play a game, shall we? Let's eat dinner together, shall we? Is the right question tag. Please make a quick note of this also. In the previous slide I was talking about positive imperative sentence. That means that will always go with won't you. And in the second part I told about negative imperative sentence, and negative imperative sentence will always go with will you. And now it is a sentence that will have a let's in it. Whenever a sentence have a let's in it, the question tag should always be shall we. So I hope it is clear to every single one out there, and that's where the discussion on the certain things are done. Now we shall quickly move on to the conversation over here. Last but not least, very simple thing, the exercise problem. And I would like to show you the exercise problem there. And once the exercise problem is done, once you're able to answer all these questions, we can quickly wind up today's session. Tell me, Sridhar wrote a play. Tell me, how will you write the question tag for this? How will you write the question tag for Sridhar wrote a play? Now understanding is very simple. Wrote ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ಅದು do ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, does ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಅಥವಾ did ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ. Very good. So wrote ಅನ್ನೋದು past tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. So that's why it is wrote a play. It is wrote a play. So that's why you should use the did form. So wrote a play ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. You have to convert it into a negative. Did not Sridhar ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು. Did not he is the right answer. Now tell me, he can do this. He can do this work. Now what should happen in the question tag? Can't he is the right answer. I shall write to him. Tell me what happens to this? I shall write to him. I shall write to him. What happens to this sentence right now? Quickly tell me in the chat. Shall ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಇಷ್ಟೇ. Same thing, shall should come over here. Shall should come here in the sentence also, but in the shortest form. What is the shortest form of shall? Okay, it is something like this. Okay, shall not I can be written in the short format like SHAN apostrophe T, and that is what is the right idea. Now shut the door. Tell me, shut the door. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ question tag ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡುವ. Shut the door. Shut the door. Quickly. Shut the door. And I understood one thing, that it's an imperative sentence. Okay, it's an imperative sentence where you're asking someone to take some action, right? And just understand, shut the door is a positive one or a negative one. Tell me, shut the door is a positive sentence or a negative sentence? You tell me. Shut the door is a positive one or negative one? You're asking someone to do it, right? That means it's a positive sentence. So that means we will use won't you. Won't you is the right question tag. Now tell me, I have hardly any money in my hand. I have hardly any money in my hand. Now tell me, what should be the answer? I have hardly any money in my hand. Now, is it a positive sentence or a negative sentence? You tell me that. Is it a positive sentence or a negative sentence? I have hardly any money in my hand. ಇದರರ್ಥ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಮನಿ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತನ, ಮನಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತನ? I have hardly any money in my hand. ಇದರರ್ಥ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಮನಿ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಮನಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. That means it's a negative sentence. A negative sentence ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ? Now many people what they do is they will go for haven't I. Okay, haven't I. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ haven't I ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಂತ have I correct anta ankolbedi, because have I kuda wrong over here. You should not use have I as the answer, because illi use ಮಾಡಿರುವುದು have ಅದು auxiliary verb ಅಲ್ಲ. have ಅನ್ನೋದು auxiliary verb ಅಲ್ಲ. have auxiliary verb ಆಗೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿ? I have gone there. I have gone there. ಈಗ ಈ ತರ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು haven't I ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇದನ್ನ. Okay, or if the sentence is like I haven't gone there, ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, have ಅನ್ನೋದು verb ಇಲ್ಲಿ, that's why ಇದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ that's why auxiliary verb ಅಂತ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇದನ್ನ. ಸೊ have I ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ have ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು auxiliary verb ಅಥವಾ main verb? ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ. Is it in the auxiliary verb or the main verb? You have to tell me that now. I have a pen. I have a pen ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ have ಅನ್ನೋದು main verb ಅಥವಾ auxiliary verb? You have to tell me that. have ಅನ್ನೋದು main verb ಅಲ್ಲಿ. I have money ಅಂದ್ರೆ have ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is a main verb. have auxiliary ಆಗೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ? Whenever you use it in the perfect tense only. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು perfect tense ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. So that's why you have to use it in the do format only. It's a main verb. Have is the main verb and it is in the present tense and it is in the present form. I do have money. I do have money. I do not have money. That itself is the sentence. That's why you have to ask this question like this. It's a negative one and you have to use the positive question like do I? I have hardly any money in my hand. Do I? Is the right question tag. It was a bit confusing, but understanding have is not the auxiliary verb. That's why you cannot go with have I. You should use do I as the answer. Then speak carefully. Tell me what happens to speak carefully now. Speak carefully is something related to the imperative sentence, and speak carefully, will it be a positive one or a negative one? Speak carefully. Speak carefully is a positive one, so you have to use it like won't you. Okay, won't you is the right answer. And then there is a crying baby. There is a crying baby. Okay, there is a crying baby. Now tell me, what will happen to the sentence? There is a crying baby andre ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಏನು? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕ್ರೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಬಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಲ್ವಾ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಯುವರ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ರೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಬಿ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ದೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದೇರಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ಬೇಕು? ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ. There is a crying baby. You should use like is the auxiliary verb and it is there in the present, it's there in the positive aspect. You have to convert it into negative. Isn't there? Isn't there? Can you use isn't there as the answer? Tell me quickly, is it right or wrong? Tell me, isn't there is a right one or not? I'm not actually saying this one, but you should know the right logic behind this particular problem. There anta idre ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Okay, very good. Very good. So many people have got it right. Many people have said that isn't there. Isn't there is the right answer. I believe that it's clear to everybody. There is a crying baby means ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ. So isn't there is the perfect right answer. Then the wounded man cannot walk. The wounded man cannot walk. Tell me what should be the right question tag to this? The wounded man cannot walk. ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಕ್ಯಾನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಈಗ wounded man ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೇಡಿ, ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹಿ. ಯುವರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹಿ is the right answer. So I hope it's clear to you. Don't use did there because it is not going to give you the right answer, because cannot anta bandre same auxiliary verb na ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So can he is the right answer. Now tell me, they are laughing. ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇದು? ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಆರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಲೇಬೇಕು, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಒನ್. ಆರ್ಂಟ್ ದೇ. Aren't they is the right. So I believe it's clear to everybody. Aren't they? And then last one, he seldom smiles. He seldom smiles. Now, what is the answer? What is the answer to this question? He seldom smiles. So now this particular seldom is in the present form itself, right? And he always should go with the does format of the verb. He don't barudilla, he does not bartadalva. So same, he always goes with the does form of the verb. So that's why he seldom smiles. It should be converted into the positive one or a negative one. You should come up with the answer right now quickly in the chat. What happens to this particular sentence? So I'm looking forward to your response in the chat section. Quickly, let me know in the chat. You should definitely know the sentence perfectly, because I told you whenever certain sort of words are coming in the sentence, what actions you need to take. Okay. He seldom smiles. ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ seldom ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ನೆನಪಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇದನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೆ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೆ? ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ seldom ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ. So you can see in slide number 9, I explained this one effectively. You see here, slide number 9. ಯಾವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ seldom, few, little, hardly, scarcely, rarely ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? Seldom ಅಂದ್ರೆ you can say that it is also somewhere related to rarely only. Seldom ಅಂದ್ರೆ meaning rarely. So ಈಗ ನಾನು ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ he seldom smiles ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ತುಂಬಾ ರೇರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಗ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ seldom ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಈಗ. 27. Okay, so in that case your answer will become this way. Your answer will become this way. He seldom smiles andre rarely alva, rarely andre adu negative, so you have to go with the positive. So he always goes with the does format, so does will come here, and since negative, positive should be there, and he comes here, and does he is the right answer. Now quickly type a bingo in the chat section if you have understood the concept of question tag, whatever we discussed in today's session. I would like to see a lot of bingo in the chat. Only then I will get a clear understanding that everyone has got a fair understanding on today's session. So thank you so much. I think I have taken 4 extra minutes of your time. I'm apologizing for that because time is money. So thank you so much for attending today's session, and thank you so much for being such a wonderful, fantastic, and amazing audience for the entire course of 2 hours. And I would like to meet you people in the next session, maybe online or offline, I don't know. Until then, it's bye bye from Chetan Kumar, and have a wow and delightful career until we meet again. So please, if you have not got vaccinated yet, please get yourself vaccinated, because to build a strong nation one more time, it is definitely needed, and it's the need of the hour. Take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your surrounding. Don't go outside unnecessarily. Please maintain social distancing and frequently wash your hands. Thank you so much, and you are the best. And you can leave the meeting when you have no more queries for me. But if you have any queries, I'll be available for next 5 to 10 minutes, and you can have all your queries with me. But if you don't have any query, quickly type a bingo and disappear from the meeting. That's all from my side. And I'm also leaving in some time if there is no response from you in the chat.